I don't really care about national polls right now. I don't, especially in the primary. They really don't make much sense. It's interesting maybe at times to get an occasional check-in on the national number, but really it doesn't make that much difference. What you want to look at are these state polls, and what we're doing is getting large swaths of national polls from these big pollsters and nothing at these state levels. Don't give me national stuff. We're 2 weeks away from Iowa. Give me Iowa polls. That's what I want, Iowa. I want Iowa information. I want to know what's going on in Iowa. I want to know what's going on in New Hampshire. When's the last time we had a poll in South Carolina? It's the third one. We're getting absolutely nothing out of these states, and this is a big, big problem. So what's going on as far as the general picture goes? Well, I mean, if you listen to the media, everything's going great for Joe Biden. Biden's strong stock market still trails Trump, and they give you a little handy-dandy graph here where it does show that Trump's stock market average was much higher, about 17 points higher than Joe Biden's. Of course, when Trump had those numbers, we were told that the stock market is not the economy. You can't look at the stock market and tell what the economy is. The economy is much broader than that, and it's bad for people. Trust us. Even though they keep telling you that it's good, it's actually bad. And now they're saying, even though everyone's telling you it's bad, it's actually good. Which, sit back and wonder at this for a second. What would it be like? I know you're probably a conservative. You got some conservative leanings. Maybe you're center-right. Maybe you're a libertarian. Maybe you're hardcore conservative. Whatever you are, think of how nice it would be to be a liberal for a second. Think all the effort that's put in on a daily basis to justify whatever you think. All of the effort that's put in by media source after media source to spin things not against you, but for you all the time. All of your views are promoted as these wonderful things, and all of your political enemies' views are promoted as these terrible, terrible outliers and crazy, phobic, name the phobia, phobic, terrible viewpoints. I mean, it would be fun. It would be fun to try just for a couple weekends, right? It's like in college when you used to experiment. It's that type of stuff. Wouldn't it be fun that everything in the media was just lined up to enforce the things you already believed? Wouldn't that just be joyous? You wouldn't become a better person. You wouldn't become smarter. You wouldn't learn anything. You wouldn't figure out the world any better, but it would be nice just to not have that constant, centrifugal force being pushed against you all the time. Now, the next group here that we're going to get into is, and this is the next season here, another reason why Trump is so far ahead, it's not just because he's being treated as an incumbent, it's because he's being targeted as, a terrorist by the government. And people who have some affinity for Donald Trump are saying this is wrong, he shouldn't be treated this way. And because he's being targeted by the legal establishment and everything else, people are tending to defend him, and yet thus his poll numbers go through the roof. Trump's courtroom and campaign trail collision is about to become a reality, says CNN. You go through all the coverage on this, honestly, and it's the same. They're going to focus on these trials more than the actual race. They're going to do that, and that the result of that, of course, is going to be that people are going to rally to support Donald Trump. And then once he gets through this primary, their goal, I don't know if this is going to work, but their plan is to then turn the tides against Donald Trump and make every independent voter think that he's the worst person who's ever lived. Will that work? It's a risk, right? It's a risk for them. It could very well spectacularly fail and backfire. But this is what they're planning to do. They don't want it to be Ron DeSantis. They don't want it to be Nikki Haley. They don't want it to be Vivek. They don't want it to be anybody except Donald Trump because they think they have that game plan down. They've had to deal with this twice already. They know how to convince independent voters to turn on Donald Trump. They did it in 2020. They're going to do it again. This is their outline for this election. Are they right? They might be. They might be, despite all the stuff that's going on with Joe Biden. It's certainly possible. I mean, that poll that I went through, all those numbers where, Hispanic voters are on Donald Trump's side and black voters are down, 25, 30%. Younger voters, it's still a very close election. In fact, Real Clear Politics average still has it as only a 2-point lead for Donald Trump. And these are miraculous polls for Trump demographically. Can Donald Trump win in an environment when they actually decide to talk about all of his negatives constantly? Now, of course, there's the Senate going on as well in 2024. The Republicans have a great chance to take the Senate. Where have we heard this before? I mean, Wall Street Journal even says this. Republicans have a great chance to retake the Senate in 2024, but they did in 2022 as well. Here's their map of where it stands right now. They have Republicans with 50 seats likely to win, Democrats only 43. So if you remember last year in 2022, we made a massively big deal about the 2022 election, not because of 2022, but because of what it could mean in 2024. If Democrats had done more poorly and Republicans had gathered more seats in the Senate, there was a chance at a filibuster-proof majority in the Senate in 2024 and maybe a Republican president, something that would really change our society, in my view, for the better. That didn't really happen in 2022, unfortunately. Republicans underperformed, and now we have a situation in 2024 where they can still make major gains, but really it's going to be almost impossible to get to those levels.